in the book of Revelation, chapter 17, the destruction of Babylon, Mystery Babylon. And here we go.
Revelation chapter 17. And there came one of the 7 angels which had the 7 vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. So he carried me away into the spirit, into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints, and with the blood of the martyrs of Jesus. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration. And the angel said unto me, Wherefore didst thou marvel? I will tell thee the mystery of the woman, and of the beast that carrieth her, which hath the 7 heads and 10 horns. The beast that thou sawest was, and is not, and shall descend out of the bottomless pit, and go into perdition. And they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, when they behold the beast that was, and is not, and yet is. And here is the mind which hath wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains, on which the woman sitteth. And there are 7 kings, 5 are fallen, and 1 is, and the other is not yet come. And when he cometh, he must continue a short space. And the beast that was, and is not, even he is the 8th, and is of the 7, and goeth into perdition. And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. These have 1 mind, and will give their power and strength unto the beast. These shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them, for he is Lord of lords and King of kings, and they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful. And he saith unto me, The waters which thou sawest, where the whore sitteth, are peoples, and multitudes, and nations, and tongues. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh, and burn her with fire. For God hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast, until the words of God shall be fulfilled. And the woman which thou sawest is that great city, which reigneth over the kings of the earth.
That was Revelation chapter 17, the destruction of Babylon the prostitute. You must understand that in the Old Testament, adultery was a metaphor for idolatry. Also, in a literal sense, it was Babylon under King Nebuchadnezzar that took God's people into captivity. And when you go back to Genesis chapter 11 verses 1 through 9, we have the incident of the Tower of Babel. And in Genesis chapter 10 verse 9, we have King Nimrod. Genesis 10:9, it says, He became the greatest hunter against the Lord. That is why it is said, like Nimrod, the greatest hunter against the Lord. When you read the book of Jasher, chapter 9, verses 25 through 35, it tells us the reason for the Tower of Babel was to kill God, to take God off his throne, and to install their idols on God's throne. But instead, God confused their language and scattered them across the earth. The Greek historian Herodotus tells us that all the idolatry scattered across the world was modeled after Nimrod and his wife. These systems of rebellion and idolatry are present today in the hearts of the disobedient in our modern world. It can be viewed as Babylon, the prostitute mentioned in the book of Revelation, is a reference to the system of evil that has always existed, persecuting the people of God throughout the ages. Just like we have the church, the body of Christ, composed by God's true people wherever they are, so this spiritual Babylon is composed by evil people who rejected God's plan for their lives. throughout all the ages, up until the time of its destruction. Saint Augustine spoke about two cities. He talked about the city of God, and he said, governed by the best of kings, where truth and justice prevail and its foundation is love, versus the city of Babylon, where confusion is prevalent and is governed by the worst of kings. This old system Satan has set up is to be destroyed and replaced with this new beast system. In Revelation chapter 17 verse 8 it says, "The beast that you saw existed once, but is no longer, and is going to crawl out of the bottomless pit and then proceed to its destruction. Those living on the earth, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, will be surprised when they see the beast, because it was, is no longer, and will come again." It says, once existed, is not, will be again. This is difficult, but I'll explain. There are many interpretations, but I'll give my personal take on this. The rebirth of the Persian Empire. It once existed, is not, because it was under the authority of the Roman Empire in the days of the Apostle John. Historically speaking, Babylon was destroyed by Persia. Today it's called Iran. In Ezekiel chapter 38 verse 5, we see the war of Gog and Magog, and Persia is among them, and they come against Israel. Iran today has one of the most formidable militaries in the world today. Russia, China, Iran, and North Korea share military technologies. The drones Iran makes are so advanced. The Russians are using them in the war with Ukraine, so much so that Iran has built a drone factory inside of Russia. Russia has hypersonic nuclear technology, and they share this with Iran. Even in the prophecies of Nostradamus, it speaks of the Antichrist, a Muslim, and he goes on to mention Persia, as you will see in this following video.
Out of the country of Greater Arabia shall be born a strong master of Mohammedan law. This king will enter Europe wearing a blue turban. He is one that shall cause the infernal gods of Hannibal to live again. He will be the terror of mankind, never more horror.
This king, this warlord, Nostradamus says, will wage war against the West.
The great one of the East by land, sea, and air with a great army will cross with death. The kingdom of the church will be overcome by the sea. From Persia, very nearly 1 million. From Persia, from Greater Arabia, from the kingdom of Mohammed.
Through an alliance with Russia.
The Moorish law will be seen to fall, followed by another that is more pleasing. Oristhanes will be the first to give way.
Nostradamus experts agree that here the French seer is suggesting that Islam will spread through Russia, starting in the south, near the river Oristhanes. They foresee Soviet nuclear capacity combining with Islamic manpower to wage war.
Revelation chapter 17 verse 10, the beast, 7 kings. It could be a reference to 7 kings of the 7 world kingdoms. The first one is Egypt, under Pharaoh, who oppressed God's people in the days of Moses during the time of the Exodus. The second king from Assyria, the kingdom of Assyria, King Tilgath-Pilsener, responsible for destroying the northern kingdom of Israel and scattering the 10 tribes of Israel into the nations. The third king would be King Nebuchadnezzar from the kingdom of Babylon, who took God's people, the southern kingdom of Judah, into captivity. The fourth king would be Xerxes, from the kingdom of Persia, who was tricked into signing a decree to exterminate all the Jews. Greece would be the fifth kingdom. We're talking about years later, after the death of Alexander the Great. There was an evil king by the name of Antiochus Epiphanes. He was a type of antichrist of the past. He tried to separate God from God's people, the Jews, by attacking the Jewish religion itself, the Torah, telling Jews not to get circumcised and to embrace the pagan practices. The Jews didn't comply and were persecuted to the point of death. In Revelation chapter 17 verse 10, it talks about 7 kings, and it goes on to say that 5 have fallen, the 5 previously mentioned. He says, one is, now this would be a reference to the Roman Empire, and it was Nero that kicked off one of the first great persecutions against the church in the days of the Apostle John. So king or kingdom number 6 would be the Roman Empire. The 7th kingdom, which is still yet to come, would be this revived Persian Islamic Empire, what today we call Iran. It's a Muslim nation. Islam, since its creation, has been responsible for many great persecutions of the church for the past 1400 years. A history unknown. A history unknown to most Westerners. Again, Persia is also mentioned in Ezekiel 38 as to be revived and to come against Israel in the last days. We're going to stop right here, but we will continue in the book of Revelation.